Hey guys, welcome back to another video here on the channel. Today we're going to be talking about some Halo Infinite. 343 Industries listening to fan feedback from that technical preview. It's going to call it an alpha almost. The technical preview that we got, some of us got hands on with back, what was like a month ago now? I don't know, time flies really, really fast, but I'm going to go through this. I'm going to try to kind of give you the highlights and not every single word in this blog post because it is pretty lengthy, but I want to kind of touch on a lot of the stuff that they're actually listening to, some positives, some feedback, and just some acknowledgements of different things that fans have given feedback to. So if you do enjoy this video, leave it a like. It does help the channel out a lot more than you may realize. And if you are new to the channel, subscribe for more gaming content. We talk about the games. We play the games, best of both worlds here on the channel. We're going to be playing a lot of Halo Infinite. We're going to do a let's play of the campaign, obviously some gameplay of the multiplayer and all that good stuff as well. So let's jump into this. First off, they start kind of talking about accessibility and things, but they do actually, before that, note some of the things they've noticed is that the path they've been kind of on has aligned with the community, because again, they're going to be giving some positive things that they thought were good, that they got confirmation from the community from the technical preview that fans did actually like and enjoy. And of course, not everything is going to be able to be acted upon as quickly as maybe everyone would like, but they are committed and they are eager to improve and evolve the game together over time. So even if things are not addressed right away, they want to make the game better and better and better as it progresses. So let's start with accessibility. So they put positives and feedback. So positives are things, like I said, that kind of align with what they were thinking and they got confirmation from the community. Feedback is things that they are looking into and they're hearing the fans about to kind of, adjust and whatnot. So positive for accessibility: friend or foe outlines, which as they noted, the friend or foe system outlines are a key component of making Halo multiplayer more accessible. As iconic as the red versus blue system is, players with color blindness were always left at a disadvantage in previous titles. So again, this whole kind of friend or foe outlines thing is to kind of help with accessibility. Of course, also full controller and keyboard and mouse remapping, which is going to allow people to map the buttons however they see fit, which again is part of the accessibility side of things. Feedback: desire for an auto sprint option, and also feedback: desire to alter the colors of the damage system color and mark system. So those are a couple things we're looking into under accessibility. Moving on to audio, we got music. So positive: players loved both the menu and multiplayer music. It was pretty good, and all that good stuff. In-game audio, a positive: weapons sounded powerful and really added to the experience. I agree on that too. Feedback: players wanted the Needler's audio to sound more crystallized, which I agree. That would sound really, really cool. Feedback: granular controls of each in-game voice, so personal AI, Spartan chatter, multiplayer announcer, and things like that. So basically, players also expressed interest in having more granular controls for what sounds they are hearing in-game, especially when it comes to the various in-game voices and all that as well. They said, we won't get that granularity until after launch, but we in the multiplayer team agree with exposing this option to the player. So again, they'll have more to say about that later on. Live. So live has to do with, battle pass and challenges and things that are part of the ongoing live service. So a positive is that players are enjoying the idea of a permanent battle pass. The battle passes are cool, right? You get to unlock some stuff and everyone's doing it nowadays anyway, so why not? Feedback though, people obviously have been kind of complaining about the idea of the way to progress, right? Our challenge is the only way to progress, and also double XP boost timer counting down while in menus, which drives me nuts. I mentioned this, drives me absolutely bonkers that a lot of developers do this. I see this all the time in Call of Duty. Never used to do that back in the day. It's kind of annoying that they do that. So they said from a player feedback perspective, we heard the request to earn XP per match outside of the challenges, as well as to have XP boost timers only count down while in a match. One of the items that wasn't fully there in the technical preview was our daily challenge model that provides challenges along the lines of play X number of games that will repeat throughout the day. These challenges are replaced after completion and provide a regular XP drop for your battle pass just for playing matches and having fun during your sessions with Halo Infinite. The weekly challenges are where you will see more specific challenges that will recognize that you might recognize from other games. For example, get 10 kills with a battle rifle. There is significantly greater depth with the weekly challenges than you see in the tech preview that we'll go through in the future. As for the XP boost timers counting down while out of a match, we'll be looking at improving this experience post-launch. So hopefully they actually listen to that. Progressing is an area we will continue to improve and grow over time, and we'll have even more to share here later this month. So it almost sounds like they're kind of maybe dismissing the XP thing for now because they're thinking, well, you know, players haven't really seen the full scope of the challenge system yet. So maybe they want to see how players react when we actually see the full challenge system and then take it from there. So I guess as of right now, maybe that's kind of where they're standing. I would still personally love to see just a normal XP system, not even just for the battle pass specifically, but just for like a player progression. Again, this seems to be, the language is kind of confusing. I wish they would be very, very specific and clarify, or maybe I'm just dumb and you all understand, but I don't. But I feel like the language seems to be tied directly to the battle pass and not so much as, well, what is the player progression? Is it going to be a ranking system like Halo 3? Is it going to be an XP system like more like Halo 5 was? Or like what's the system going to be like? I wish they would touch more upon that as well. Anyways, moving on from that, multiplayer. Positive, bots were intelligent, fun, and challenging. I agree. Positive, bot arena is a safe environment to learn, very helpful for learning the layout and flow of the maps. I also agree. Again, having hands-on with the technical preview, it was a great experience to kind of get hands-on with understanding these, these kind of feedbacks that other community members are throwing towards 343. So feedback, we got a few feedback under multiplayer, bots and bot arena. Bots are too accurate when shooting weapons and throwing grenades. That was kind of true, but at the same time, it wasn't so bad on the lower difficulties. So I'm kind of like, well, I guess I half agree. So I'm kind of throwing in my own perspective, by the way, as I'm kind of reading this and giving it to you guys. Feedback, bots all went the same way to start, could get confused while moving on the map and didn't use equipment enough. That is also true. I mean, once you learned and figured out that that bots were doing kind of the same thing at the beginning of a match, you could actually get a 4-piece right off the top of the game because you knew where the whole squad was going, the whole bot squad was going. Anyways, some more feedback. Spartan bots weren't much better than ODST bots, and players wanted them to be difficult. I don't know if I fully agree with that. I mean, ODST bots and Spartan bots did feel like a significant jump, in my opinion. Maybe not as much as other players would like, but for me, it seemed fine. I noticed the difference for sure. It felt like you upped the difficulty by a notch. So I don't know. If anything, I would say leave it as is and maybe just add another difficulty above Spartan bots. I mean, I don't know what you do above Spartan. I mean, Spartan is the top, I guess, right? But I don't know. To me, it felt fine, the gap between the two. But that's just kind of me. So they're looking into those things as well. Then weapon drills, positives, provided a great environment for learning weapons. That's also very true. Players had fun and enjoyed sharing their weapon drill scores. I also noticed that on social media. I didn't personally share my scores. My scores weren't very good. So then we got a bunch of feedback. Desire to teach alt fire modes more clearly. Some wanted a way swap between weapon drills more easily. Some players wanted untimed weapon drills. Many players wanted equipment and movement drills. So they're looking into those things as well. And all that good stuff. Then we got combat sensor, which is the radar. So we got some feedback regarding this. Some liked the combat sensor, though most found it confusing, and some wanted height indicators as well, which honestly would be nice because there's a lot of verticality in a lot of these maps, especially with some of these maps having grappling hooks. So I think that would actually be a good indicator to kind of have, the verticality aspect. Like if you're on a lower level and someone's on a higher level or vice versa, to know that player is either lower or higher. I think that'd be good. So they kind of went into that a little bit. They touched on that. They said the combat sensor radar that sits on the bottom left of your HUD followed a different set of rules in previous Halo titles. It only displayed enemies when they were sprinting or shooting, which was more in line with Halo 5's threat tracker. We knew that this implementation was going to feel different, maybe a little contentious, and that's why we wanted to get feedback on it as soon as possible in the tech preview. While some appreciated the new approach, we found that most players missed the old properties in these social matches. We've updated the combat sensor to feel more like motion tracker of old, which shows all movement besides crouch walking, and should have that ready for folks to test in the next flight. Be sure to keep an eye on it and let us know how it plays. So I don't know when the next flight's going to be, but thankfully we're going to be able to test this out again before launch. Personal AI, so some positives. People loved having their own personal AI for the first time, and people loved customizing the personal AI. As far as feedback goes, desire for more customization options, separate voice from body, more shapes, more voices, more colors, more feedback, desire to preview a personal AI's voice and personality in the lobby. That would be obviously a significant kind of change and positive. Desire to increase the variety of their lines. Desire to control how much the personal AI talks, including being able to turn them off. So they're looking into those things as well. As far as medals go, they actually talked about that a little bit as well. Positive new medal events such as Ninja, 360, and Bank Shot were loved. Players also loved that certain medals get called out in the event feed. And in feedback, many players were worried about the size, placement, and art style of the medals. So those are things that they're taking into consideration. They're doing a revision now that preserves their difficulty tiering, colors, and iconography. I don't know how to say it. Iconography. I don't know. Okay, I'm just gonna hurt myself. I give up. You guys get the idea. Sandbox, friend or foe recognition, player outlines, pro, accessibility and customization options, feedback, impact, shield, and overshield readability, desire for more options, including the ability to turn them off, desire to have an opponent's gamer tag appear above their head. So those are also some things that they're looking into. They've made significant effects changes to better communicate the health of a target, things like that. As for more options, such as turning outlines off entirely, we need to explore how realistic this is given our timelines for launch. And a common note was to have player gamer tags appear above their head when looking at them. We completely agree and can confirm that names weren't showing up due to a bug. So that was actually something that was supposed to be there, but it was just bugged out. Aiming, feedback, performance impacting aim. Some felt the default sensitivity was too low. Desire for axial dead zone controls. Note, confusion around zoom/smart scope. Aiming is similar to IFF was another area that they really wanted to dive into in the tech preview. While we know performance in this build wasn't great and impacted aiming, we still received tons of valuable input from all of you, and they're of course taking all this data into consideration and trying to look into that. They've also talked about since we have since exposed axial dead zone controls in the settings, so you should see these improvements as well as other performance increases in the next flight. So again, they're taking all this feedback and they are actually adjusting a ton. As far as weapons go, positive. Overall weapon balance felt great. Positive ability to drop weapons is appreciated. Feedback, S7 Sniper and Skewer were difficult to use. I agree. I didn't like them personally. Split feedback. Hammer feels too strong, but also too slow. That's sort of, yes, it felt too slow. I don't know about too strong because the hammer's supposed to be strong, but it was definitely way too slow. And I noted that actually when I was recording some gameplay, and I brought you guys a gameplay on that one map. I can't remember the name, but the map that has a gravity hammer on it. So they're looking into that as well. Overall, of course, as far as the S7 Sniper and Skewer, with a focus on how difficult it was to aim while scoped in, the performance and aiming improvements mentioned above should help here, but we'll also be tuning some of the aiming for the S7 Sniper for the next flight. Lastly, the gravity hammer got a lot of attention on recharge. Some players enjoyed that it had its own unique role in the sandbox and wasn't just another sword, but others felt that the change made it too slow. Overall, the feedback for this weapon was split down the middle between it being too effective and not effective enough. As a result, we don't plan on making any major changes, but we'll continue to monitor it. So, I mean, that makes sense because the community is so split on this. You can't really go one side or the other. It's best probably to just kind of continue to monitor it and see if there's any kind of sway on either side or the other, like otherwise, whether, you know, people actually are fine with it over time or more people are not fine with it over time, and see, you know, where the pendulum swings basically. As far as movement goes, we're almost done, by the way, guys. As far as movement goes, positive. Sprint's balance was positively received. Split feedback. Players wanted it to feel smoother movement and less warping. Note, screen shake was too much even when turned off in settings. So again, this is split down the middle. They're going to continue to monitor this feedback and all that good stuff and see, again, if, sways to one side or the other. Equipment positive. Grapple shot was loved by all. I loved it. It was a great piece of equipment, and I love the way it was. You get like, I think 3 when you pick up a set or whatever. I love that. Feedback. Drop well felt too slow and too weak. I also agree with that. So again, they're going to look into that, and they're going to kind of try to see about tweaking that. They said that they have reduced the drop wall's deployment time, and they're taking a closer look at the durability, but want to assess how the faster deployment impacts gameplay before committing to increasing the health of its panels just yet. So again, they're looking into that stuff as well. We just got some UI and menu stuff to kind of quickly touch on. So positive. HUD, clean, streamlined approach was appreciated. I agree. Feedback. Some felt the weapon cradle was small, an inability to see second grenade type, and some would like HUD customization options. They said, we agree the weapon cradle in the bottom right of your screen did seem a little small. We will be exploring improvements to help make sure it's more legible at a glance at post-launch. There also was good feedback about not being able to see, or there was also good feedback about not being able to see your secondary grenade type. The team agrees that this information is extremely valuable, I'm stuttering here, especially in the heat of the battle. So the UI change will land in a future update. So again, they're trying to tweak things. They're listening to a lot of community feedback. And then as far as the menus go, positive overall presentation received positive feedback. Scrolling in customization and customization items were difficult to equip, so they're looking into that as well. There's plenty of feedback around a customization menu in particular, and they have a desire to have vertical navigation or grid layout, they saw a desire to have vertical navigation or grid layout similar to Halo 5 instead of horizontal scrolling. And they said we also had many players call out that the flow to equip customization elements was not as smooth as they would have liked. There was also some bugs impacting the menu, such as equip, not always equipping items. So we recognize there's room for improvement in the overall customization presentation. While the current layout will be what you see at launch, it will continuously evolve with each season. So they are looking into kind of, expanding it. And they said they basically wrapped it up saying thank you for everyone who took the time to participate and share feedback. It's obviously critical into making it even better. And if you want to join the next Halo Infinite flight, it will feature 4v4 arena and big team battle, which sounds really exciting. So make sure you are registered for the Halo Insider program at haloinsider.com and all that good stuff. So that's pretty much it. So pre-orders are opened up for the campaign as well. The game's coming out December 8th, 2021. It's going to be exciting stuff. I'm excited to kind of jump in, and hopefully you guys appreciated this video, just kind of going through it with you guys. Maybe you didn't feel like reading it yourself. You just wanted to kind of listen to someone else kind of go through it and highlight it for you guys. So if you did enjoy this video, if you appreciate it, leave it a like. Like I said, we do a variety of gaming content. We talk about the games and we play the games here on the channel. And if you're into Nintendo content, be sure to check out my Nintendo channel as well, because I kind of keep that for a different channel because I'm a huge Nintendo fan, and there'd be way too much content for one channel if I didn't split it up. So Nintendo has its own channel. But anyways, thanks for watching. Again, you can join our Discord down in the description below. You can follow me, JSkeleton on Twitter, and I'll see you guys very soon in another one. Stay safe, stay well, and until then, game on.